The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with the new Pick 8. Sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And it is showtime here on the college baseball experience. What's going on, everybody? My name is Noah Bieniek, your host today. And we had a great day of baseball on Sunday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch every single moment, every single game. I was at a graduation party, the first one of the summer. I've got like 2 more, I think. But yeah, my cousin's graduation party and some family time had my hands tied to only one game on the day. And of course, it was Clemson, Florida. As you guys have listened to this show throughout the year, you'd know that Florida was my preseason national championship pick. Clemson was my biggest position when it came to the futures market in the preseason. Unfortunately, that came to a rough end for me to take. But I'm here to talk about it because that was a great game. Ryan Hasty says, Noah, you look swaggy. I appreciate that. What's going on, Leg Show Magazine? Where do I start? Let's do our best to recap what I didn't see, but what happened today. The shit show that is Georgia NC State continues. Again, a non-competitive game. In this one, Georgia wins 11-2, and we've got one game 3 tomorrow, and it is Georgia NC State. We'll get to handicapping that in a little bit. What kind of pitching usage happened in games 1 and games 2? Other than that, nothing really interesting when it came to that one. The next game chronologically is the Clemson Florida game. So Caglione pitched very well. Canuck pitched good, gave up a couple of early runs. Clemson was fighting from behind for most of the game. I don't know, it was the second or the third inning. I assume most people that are listening to the show would have caught it. There was a short chopper on the first base side of the mound that Caglione fields, and Nolan Naraki is running down first base. He's Clemson's DH, decides to just keep going, run right through the Caglione tag. There was some force behind him running down the line, no doubt. Then Caglione did not like it. As Caglione's going to the dugout, he shoves Naraki, and mayhem breaks out. The entire Clemson dugout spills out into foul territory. That's important here. And the Florida dugout kind of spills, but not into fair territory. Like Hasty's saying, we had a little dust up. And there's select few players that were specifically on the field of play that were in this scrum. I don't know how only one player gets ejected, but only one player got ejected. The rule, if you guys had paid attention to, or I put out a video on this too, covering the Mississippi State Georgia debacle, where a bunch of players ran onto the field. If you are in the field of play playing defense, if you run out of your position into the area of the scrum, which many players were in the area, I don't know if any really engaged, but they were out of their position for Florida in the scrum. By rule, they're supposed to be ejected. We saw like 8 Mississippi State players get ejected because all of them ran to home plate after a collision at home. The one guy that gets thrown out of the game is the Clemson base runner, Jack Crichton, from my neck of the woods up here. He's from Rochester Hills, Michigan. He was standing on second base, rounding third as the ball was being fielded by Caglione. And when the third out was made, he's running back across the field to go to the dugout. Now, he did go into the area that we're talking about, and by happenstance bumps into an umpire. Like the umpire not paying attention, Crichton's just running straight. The umpire walks into Crichton, and that's not apparently the reason. Crichton was just thrown out because he was in the area of said scrum. So Clemson's down their first baseman. The first baseman that gets subbed in for Crichton has like a 215 batting average on the season. I think it was McClatty. Again, I was watching on my phone screen with no volume at the grad party, so I couldn't truly tell. But I mean, back and forth game kind of throughout. Then Florida, which Kevin O'Sullivan is not really known for. He's known for taking care of his pitchers' arms. After Neely had thrown 60 pitches the day before, brings Neely back out for another lengthy appearance out of the bullpen. And he once again shut down Clemson. They were not able to figure out Neely when he was coming in relief. Canuck did well. Then in relief, Austin Gordon was outstanding. The bottom of the 8th inning, because they were the acting home team. Florida gets a walk, and what's his name did very well at getting on base in front of Caglione all day. It seemed like every time Cags came at the bat, there was runners on base. Eric Bakich decides to intentionally walk Caglione. The next hitter, Ashton Wilson, hits a bomb. And Clemson's up 3 going into the 9th. That was actually bottom 7 because Clemson had 2 chances to tie it up. Going into the 9th inning, Clemson had the middle of their order. And no, it was top of the order. I apologize. It was 1, 2, 3, and then Canarella was 4th. The first out happened really quick. Then I think there was a walk, and then a single, and then Canarella hit a 3-run bomb. And then we go to extra innings. Canarella makes one of the greatest catches you'll see like this decade. This decade's like Willie Mays no-look catch. Just insane. Running completely with his back to the plate, just getting to the spot of the ball, looks up, and basket catch right there as he jumps into the center field fence. And Florida was able to clutch up in the 13th. And what happened in the bottom of the 12th, or no, top of the 13th, was Alden Mathis hits a go-ahead solo home run with 2 outs in the top of the 13th. What should give the crowd, the team, a ton of momentum, the game was delayed for about 10 minutes as umpires once again are talking about possibly throwing out a player. And then Jack Leggett comes out of the dugout for whatever reason. I still don't know. And he's tossed. Eric Bakich comes out and arguing the decision to toss Leggett, and Bakich gets tossed, like animated with the umpires in the middle of the field. That was great. Like, that's a coach that I would want to play for. Not just speaking of me being a fan of him because he was coach with Michigan when we had our deep postseason run, but just a guy that's willing to stick up for players and then do that. And then he fired up the crowd as he got off the field, no momentum was really lost, even though it was a situation that it very well could have been. And in the bottom of the 13th, Florida just, I think it was uh, single gap shot done like that. It just sucks because I said this in a video that I posted on Twitter because I needed to react to it instantly because I felt like a lot of people were probably a little bit antsy for my emotions and reactions because I am a Florida fan and I did have a large position on Clemson. That it just sucks. The last 2 seasons in extra innings, I feel like Clemson didn't have a fair shot. You look at it 2 years ago in the 14th inning, they lose to Tennessee because Cam Cannarella is not on the field. He was ejected in that game. And you look at it in 2024, in the 13th inning, they lose to Florida when their head coach, their associate coach, and Jack Crichton, their first baseman, was tossed. I don't think they were the better team in the game from watching the game the entire way. They needed some miraculous plays to, one, stay in it offensively, two, not be eliminated defensively. They made like a diving play, and then also the Cannarella catch. But to me, it just felt like I felt bad once again for Bakich and the guys that kind of got robbed from them. But in that sense as well, like Florida put up 10 runs and they deserved to win that game. And I'll be rooting for Florida because they are playing their best ball of the year. You look at it right now, and they've won 8 of the last 10. Like that's the best stretch they've had all season long. They've won 5 games in a row. It's the first time they've done that all season long. I don't have any logic behind how it happened, but this team has turned a corner. And like I said, this is a team that I believed in a lot in the preseason, and just over time in the middle of the season, they had really turned me off. They couldn't pitch to save their lives. And I don't think that a lot of the young kids really performed well on the mound against Clemson this weekend. Brandon Neely came in twice and really shut down the Tigers. Starting pitching was okay. I still think it's not great entering Omaha. I don't know if they'll be able to do damage in Omaha. I just think that they're a very great story. And who knows? I was definitely saying that and counting out Ole Miss too. So, the last thing I'll say is, like, if we can't get good umpires for a Clemson regional or super regional, because again, this is 2 years in a row. I would just not want a regional in Clemson. Like, don't rip the hearts out of a very passionate fan base that was showing up and ready to go for all of their home games this postseason. Like, that's just shitty and that's awful. All the reviews that were happening and every game this postseason in Clemson and just around the country too, like the reviews suck. I feel like when I've gone to games in person with the Big Ten, their reviews are quick. When I've gone to, or not gone to, when I've watched games in the SEC, I don't know about the ACC, but the SEC with their replay system, it goes quick going to Birmingham. I don't know what it is with NCAA in Pittsburgh, but it takes forever. And I'm not a fan of it. And a lot of times it's just over some dumb shit. So I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about in this game before we move along. Caglione hit a bomb in this game too. I think I skipped over that, which I shouldn't have. But yeah, like that was a very important moment in this game because he got like 2 or 3 intentional walks too in between. I think that's it. Just it was a good season from Clemson. They performed pretty much how I expected, and I knew going into the year they didn't have an ace. That probably came back to bite them too. But the offense was just as good as I thought it was going to be. anything else that I need to say now that my Clemson Tigers have been eliminated? I said my piece on Florida. I think I'm good. I'm much better behind a keyboard when I have more time to think than I'm live on microphone. The next game of the day was just the no-brainer pick to me was Tennessee was going to win this game. The 5.5 was too rich for my blood to jump on, but it always felt like Tennessee was going to blow out Evansville in this one. And even the over didn't come in because Evansville didn't participate in the run scoring for today's game. I was seeing on social media like some stirring, like uh, Evansville winning a game against Tennessee was outstanding. Like this one result here, 12-1, doesn't put a blemish on that at all. Like Evansville getting the super regionals, beating the number 1 overall seed, first time a 4 seed taking down a number 1 overall seed. Like that's still a win for this Evansville program. Some tweet on Tennessee Twitter and sprinkled into national college baseball relevancy is calling Evansville's fan base clowns. Like, look in the mirror. You're Tennessee. You do the same shit, right? So I thought Evansville had a great contingent there in Knoxville for all 3 games, and their team showed up to play in the first 2 for sure, and they kind of just ran out of gas. Like they had played to win 1 game to see the 3rd game just to give themselves a chance. And just by looking at it on paper, you knew that they wouldn't have been able to stop the Tennessee offense. And that's kind of what happened. Texas A&M Oregon was an interesting one. So Texas A&M wins. They sweep Oregon in the Super Regionals 2-0. They win this game 15-9, and they busted the under that I was hemming and hawing on giving out the under 13.5. They busted that. Shane Sadeo didn't even make it out of the first inning, leaves with an injury. UCL, they said they initially scanned, or the initial scans came back negative, which is a good thing. But he's going to go through more testing throughout the week to see if he's able to pitch in Omaha. That's another thing. So, like, being good and not having a tear or partial or I can't think of the third term currently. It's escaping me, of course, live on mic. But yeah, that sucks for Sadeo, and it sucks for Texas A&M because he had really emerged as a very solid second starter. This is a pitching staff that had its question marks against SEC competition, and I had talked about all postseason. When you take a step out of SEC play, it's a breath of fresh air. Well, both Florida and Texas A&M are jumping back into SEC play here, as we've got an all SEC, all ACC Omaha coming up here on our hands. Like I said earlier in this week, I was rooting for the best teams to make it to Omaha. And in my opinion, I think I got that, and I'm happy. We get our sport showcased at its top level with the biggest attention that we could possibly ask for. The NBA playoffs did push back their championship, which is stupid, but still only sparingly. Last year we had College World Series without NBA at all, which was super, super nice, and without NHL at all. I still think NHL's got a shot to end prior, but I know sprinkled in ESPN will be shown NBA games, but our epicenter of college baseball, the Omaha, everybody looks forward to. Even the casuals tune in for this. We'll have some of the best teams in college baseball there, and that's all I could ask for. Specifically in this game, I think Oregon made some dumb decisions and punted it away. They left 2 guys out to dry completely in the 7th inning, and A&M put up, I think it was 12 runs in the 7th and 8th innings combined, and that's your ball game. It was like walk, hit by pitch, walk. They switched the pitcher, walk, single, grand slam, and that was your game. And that place was rowdy as all hell. So yeah, the Aggies are now going in wounded out for sure without Braden Montgomery, their top MLB draft prospect for this year's upcoming draft. They still have Laviolette. They still have Grahovic. They still have a loaded lineup after. Hayden Schott's playing with a brace, but he played outstanding today. They've got Burton. They've got Camarillo. And even today, what's his name? The replacement for Montgomery goes deep and hit that grand slam. So, I mean, they've retooled that lineup without Montgomery, and they're still rolling. The pitching scares me a little bit. And going in, they were my champion pre-tournament here. I don't think I'll have them winning it here now because of the Sadeo injury is more impactful than the Montgomery one, in my opinion. The bullpen's still great for A&M with the Evan Ashenbeck, Chris Cortez out of the pen, that duo. And they've got a couple of other arms that are really solid out of the pen. Tanner Jones and Justin Lampkin just have to turn it up. They have to be the beginning of the season, middle of the season guys that they were in order for Texas A&M to be able to win. The last game of the day was the game I was looking forward to the most outside of Clemson, Florida, obviously, but Kentucky, Oregon State. I just thought the storyline was there. You have an Oregon State team that's competing in the final year of their entire athletic department being a power conference team. It shouldn't be that way, but they're getting screwed over by the NCAA. I was hoping and rooting for the Beavs, but I loved the story for Kentucky. I think this team is super legit. Everybody's doubting them still. I don't know how that can be the case. You're going to Omaha and people are still calling you an average middle of the road team. They're ranked second in the country by whoever's doing polls and by the tournament committee entering the tournament. Just nonsense, spewing nonsense if you aren't willing to accept this team. Coming into the weekend, Oregon State had a 301 team batting average, and Kentucky gave up 3 total hits. I mean, that's stellar. That's outstanding. And you can't ask for anything better. Kentucky wins this game 3-2. The 2 runs that Oregon State scored were all via walks. Mason Moore didn't have his best stuff today. Throws 4.2 hitless innings, but he had 6 walks, I believe it was. The winning run for Kentucky was scored on a pass ball when the runner was standing on second base, and he takes home. So not only does he go to third base, but he rounds third base hard. Nelson Keljo, the reliever for Oregon State, was not covering home plate, and just all effort, all heart, running home for Kentucky. And that's what the team plays for. Plays like every single game. This is a very fun team to watch because they play with their hearts on their sleeve. They know they're not the most talented bunch. They don't have the most power, but they manufacture runs in multiple different ways. And once again, they sped Oregon State up, and just mental mistakes for the Beavers. And it's tough because it's an outstanding moment for one program. They clinched a ticket to Omaha. This is their first Omaha appearance in Kentucky baseball program history. And then at the same time, you have a power program with 3 national titles in the last 20 years. And you don't know how far they're going to fall, you know? So it's tough for the Oregon State side for sure. And the final play of this era of Oregon State baseball, of this era of Pac-12 baseball, you know, Micah McDowell's standing there looking at all 3 strikes in that at bat. It's just tough because he's a senior, been a Beaver his entire career, didn't play much as a junior, and you just feel for the kid for sure. that's why it took me so long to start tonight's show, is because one, the moment was so great for Kentucky, and then two, like I am such a big fan of this Oregon State baseball program. And of course, I'm a northern kid, but in the Pacific Northwest, when the climate is not a baseball climate, but to build a winning program, a winning culture, it goes back to the Pat Casey days. Like, that's a program that I will never stop rooting for. They've always been underdogs, and same with Kentucky. That's why the super regional matchup sucked, but it also made it awesome. I wish I could have been there in person. Um, but you know, it's going to be awesome to see Big Blue Nation. Like, I'll actually be rooting for Big Blue Nation for the first time in a while. I don't root for them in basketball, but you damn sure I'll be riding them in baseball, because that fan base is going to get rowdy and nuts and obnoxious in Omaha, and I cannot wait for it. And I hope they are going to be in Omaha in droves, because they should be. They should be supporting this team. It's a very, very good team. That was the day's action. We've got one game to pick here on today's slate. And my recap took 30 minutes. I wasn't planning on that. So if you are listening to this on the podcast platforms, go ahead and skip about 3 minutes. But if you're here on YouTube live, I appreciate it. Stay with me for about 3 minutes here, as I want to introduce to you guys the newest daily podcast from SGPN, dedicated to giving out underdog picks. The Daily Dog, the new 10-minute episode dropping every Monday through Friday. The Daily Dog, wherever you get your podcasts, will be available from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Also, the Circa Resort, Circa Las Vegas announced that they're giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes for both Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Sign up in Vegas and play from anywhere with footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP, to get $50 off. Again, that's Football Contest Proxy, PROXY.com, promo code SGPN. Pick 8 is now live for Underdog Fantasy and for the NBA Finals. Create entries up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries, so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. The best part is that you can win up to 325x your original amount. You can now use specials and boosts in all flexed entries as well, so don't miss your chance to try this new feature before it's gone. Sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick, plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. The college baseball experience is also brought to you by Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you the menu of best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning their algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in the picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA models so you can get AI-backed moneyline, spread, and total picks for every playoff game. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on Game Time app usually go down closer to it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals and all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Personally, I used Game Time when I purchased tickets to go see Jack Leiter's debut in the MLB, the Texas Rangers against the Detroit Tigers at Comerica Park. But you can use Game Time if you are heading out to the College World Series. I highly encourage you checking out their, last minute deals feature to make sure that you can get the best price that you offer. And if it's not the lowest price on the market, you can take it right to Game Time and they'll refund you your bonus or your ticket, or your price, whatever. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Use code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay, we're home free. I appreciate all you guys, your patience here on the College Baseball Experience. That's how we pay the bills around here. Yesterday we go 4-5 on the money lines. The run lines we went 4-1 on money lines, not 4-5. 4-1 on money lines, 3-2 on spread, and 2-3 on totals. Today, hopefully we have run line total, right? Yeah, we do. No, sorry, the wrong page. We do not. We've just got the money line. Does anybody's book have a run line or total? I'm going to look elsewhere other than DraftKings currently to make sure I get my answer that I'm looking for. I do not have. So Tally Site, which has many sports books, doesn't have all of them, but many. There's no run lines and totals. I'm checking one last one that we don't have access. That usually is pretty good about college baseball. And no run line or total. So currently on DraftKings, which is usually where you're going to find the best price and the first opening line in the market for college baseball. Georgia's minus 150, NC State's plus 120. This is the same price as game 2, a little bit higher than it was in game 1. Daniel Cotty says, does Georgia even have a third starter worth of shit? Let's jump into it because I think they do. Zach Harris, let's go into the bullpen. Zach Harris is the projected starter for what it's worth. So on Saturday, Georgia started Colton Smith, who has 38 pitches this weekend. He wasn't hit hard. A lot of soft contact that created a ton of runs for NC State. 38 pitches. Expect him to come into this game. Chandler Marsh is done. Jarvis Evans, 58 pitches on Saturday. 1 day rest. He'll be able to come back in relief. Max DeJong through 22. He's not really one of the more reliable relievers. You probably won't see him in this game, but he would be available. Leighton Finley threw 107 on Sunday. He's not going to be good to go, but Brian Zeldin only threw 28. He's one of the better relievers. He'll be good to go. The Georgia pen that is available, unlike NC State, where they have a couple of injuries, and I don't know who's healthy, who's not by heart. Georgia has Christian Maracna, who has a 5.32 ERA, 45.2 innings on the year. He's going to be good to go. They have Jarvis Evans, who has a 5.49 ERA. He'll be good to go. They have Zeldin, who has a 5.60 ERA. He'll be good to go. NC State threw Sam Heifel for 111 pitches on Saturday. He's not going to appear here on Monday. Andrew Schaffner could throw, but he's not really one of the top options for them out of the pen. On Sunday, they weren't in the game either, so they didn't feel the need to throw any of their top arms. Dom Fritton threw 50 pitches. Ryan Marone, their midweek starter, threw 84. So you won't see him. Probably won't see Fritton. And then they go with Hollis Fanning, who threw 16, and then Carson Kelly threw the 9th inning. So there's 3 arms here that I'm pretty sure are healthy with at least 25 innings on the year and sub-5 ERAs. The NC State pen is an advantage over Georgia's pen for sure. But I give the edge to Georgia's starting pitcher and their lineup compared to NC State's starting pitcher in the lineup. Let's jump into that. So NC State, this is of course to be announced, was not, I don't know exactly who's throwing for NC State. So this is not gospel. It's just a TBA. Logan Whitaker, senior right-handed pitcher, who's 3-1, 6.23 ERA, 52 strikeouts, 18 walks, and 47.2 innings with a 3.76 SIERA. On the road this season, it's a 3.52 road ERA. In his last 6 starts, or 6 appearances, I should say, he has an 8.01 ERA. Starting for Georgia, I think it's going to be Zach Harris. He started multiple game 3s to finish the season and started the 3rd game in the regional. He's a sophomore right-hander who's 5-1 with a 6.69 ERA on the season, 42 strikeouts, 18 walks, and 35 innings. But as a sophomore with not much experience, he's gotten better as the season's gone along. 357 SIERA looks under the hood, looks like he should be pitching even better than his flat line says, but in his last 5 appearances, he has a 2.92 ERA. You look at that with the offense that Georgia has, the 138 WRC plus, the 1031 team OPS, 1107 OPS against right-handed pitching. Logan Whitaker is a right-hander. I think that's the edge. I think that's the side you got to be on if you're going to play this game. It's the only game for us today. That would be the side that I recommend. And I wouldn't even say like take the over, because a lot of these 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock games that have been on ESPN, ESPN2 have all gone under, all of them. So the sports books were kind of late to list run lines and totals, I'm sure, for waiting on the timing. I would not take an over here. It screams like this could be a slugfest between the two teams, but I would take the under, and I think that Georgia wins this game like a 7-5, 7-4 type game. The NC State pen is the thing that could bust this thing. If Logan Whitaker looks shaky early and he gets an early yank, NC State could definitely mix and match their way through 9 innings and just switch up the looks that they keep giving Georgia. And that would be the path to victory for the Wolfpack, in my opinion. So it's definitely a risky play. The only reason why I would suggest you play Georgia on the money line here is if you want action on this game, and considering that you are listening to this show all the way through my reactions on yesterday's games, I would recommend Georgia in this game. Because the NC State plus 1.5, I don't think is going to be good enough. It's going to be, Georgia putting up some runs, and I think Georgia minus 1.5 wouldn't be a terrible play. But I think your best play in this one is just take the money line with Georgia. Then it would be Georgia run line. Then it would be, I would lean under on this one for sure. And that's going to do it. So tomorrow night, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the schedule. We are going to have another show. We're doing daily shows throughout June. For this week coming up, I think I'll be on Sports Gambling Podcast. I don't know what night that's going to be. So that's why I can't really tell you guys what my show is going to be. Because if I'm on SGP, I'll probably just do my College World Series preview that day. Just because I'll be prepping for SGP. I'll probably just do my own solo. And if Colby wants to hop on with me, if Mac want to hop on, that's probably going to be the day, whatever day we do SGP. However, we'll be covering transfer portal. I'll do some coaching news this week. Thursday is the one that is set in stone. I'll be doing media day because I love tuning in to a lot of these pressers. And it'll be the one show that I don't care if we get copyrighted, that we don't make any money on the YouTube platform side of things. But I think some of the pressing, some of the media stuff is fun to look at and to watch, and I'll pick out some of the highlights and I'll
throw them into a show, and we'll do like a montage of it. Because I mean, those things are like 8.5 hours long in Omaha, and some people just don't have the time to go through them all. So I'll pick out some of the best moments, clip them, we'll throw them into the show, and that will be Thursday night's show prior to Friday. So yeah, Thursday night. Now that I'm saying it, I want to do media day because I enjoy it, and I will be doing it whether I do a show or not. But Thursday night's got to be picks too for the 2 Friday games. And also I'll be having guests on throughout the week for the College World Series, just so it gives you guys fresh analysis, fresh opinions, fresh points of view when watching these teams play. I've got a couple of people that are already in my DMs that I was like, hey, I mean, you guys want to jump on the show? I've got some pending yeses. Already said yes. I just need to schedule a day. And it'll be a fun week. There'll be last year they were all like half-hour shows for the 2 games that we were picking. It was like a slight interview as well. But yeah, I think that is all that I wanted to mention. The one thing that I didn't say was like the highlight of Tony Vitello on social media. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. I'll be posting it in the morning as like the first thing you need to do today is watch this clip, and it'll be Tony Vitello. I highly recommend you go watch it on social media. Just that guy absolutely fires me up. That is another coach that there's not many of them, because I want it to be like the most sincere compliment to a coach, but that's a coach that I'd play for. Nick Mingione's a coach that I'd play for. Eric Bakich is a coach that I'd play for. All 3 of them had golden moments of why I would play for them. All of them happening today. So, yeah, I think that's it. I'm always terrible at ending shows, but I want to appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on today's episode. It was more recap, only one game today. So, again, that's another reason why the guests come in handy, is it gives us a little bit more content to talk about. But yeah, I appreciate all you guys tuning in here on YouTube and across all platforms. We had over 150 you guys here at 3:15 a.m. on YouTube. We had we currently have 20, I should say. So I appreciate all you guys jumping in here. Hasty, you're a real one. Daniel, you're a real one. Nathan Cerna's in here. Danny Dumbshit's been in here. Sorry, I was just totally in the zone, I guess. Britton is our host of Daily Dog, by the way. I'll promote him on we'll get one of his tweets or one of his videos promoted on TCE tomorrow for Monday's stuff. So yeah, great show. I appreciate everybody hanging out and talking some baseball. You've been experiencing the better side of college baseball. Adios, amigos.